Anyway, we sorted it. We sorted it. So yeah, thanks for being here, everybody. Um, yeah, it feels like a while since I've been and done a little spaces. So good to see everybody on here. Lots of familiar faces as well, which is great. Just want to yeah, apologise for my nasally, horrible sounding voice. I'm yeah coming off the back end of a bit of a cold. So, but we're getting there. We're getting there now. Cool. So I can see I've got Ben and Chorley. Cool. Chorley's requested. Let's get him up. Chorley and the gang, are you all under one login as usual?
Hey, is that working now?
Yes, can hear you, mate.
Sorry, it's always this speaker. Doesn't do
No,
its
that's
job.
that's all good, man. I always seem to have some kind of technical issue with spaces. Like, I don't know if you heard me, but this is like lift music was playing when I turned it on, and that's never happened before. I was like, what is going on?
I thought that was some sort of like nice additive that you'd added in, just like lounge music before we start.
Yeah, just ease everybody into it nicely and yeah, lovely. But no, I managed to get it off in the end. But it was like I was panicking. I was like, how do I turn this off? Um, but yeah, listen, great to have you guys back on for another space. You know, obviously, I hadn't spoke to you since the end of the end of the last year, and yeah, lots has been going down in Alchemy Town. Let's say ever since the new year has rolled in, hasn't it? So yeah, great to be speaking with you guys again. I'm looking forward to um, you know sending over some community questions and just getting a general feel for how things have been with you guys since the beginning of the year, and obviously your very big announcement, about the exchange.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for having us. And just so everyone's aware, I've got Ben and Chandru here as well, even though it's only me down as the speaker, because Billy's working from home today, so she's got the Alchemy account. To cross her up there.
Yeah.
How's it going, guys? Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Hey Ben, Chandru, how you going, guys? Good to speak to you. Appreciate you. You've clearly been a very busy guys so far this year. So appreciate you guys taking the time to come on and answer community questions. I mean, it's natural to have quite a few questions after big announcements, and I think it's poignant to address and help the community understand sort of how things have been, and after an announcement like you guys, delivering on your product to get an idea about how that's changed things, what's coming up next, clarifying some information around things that you guys have been posting, and yeah, just getting the community on the same page, and heading forward and tackling the rest of the roadmap.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's been pretty exciting start to the year so far. I think everybody's been enjoying what we've had to say. Yeah, like you said, there's like a few details that's always worth like clarifying, because some things do change over time just by the nature of like building products and then kind of working stuff out. So some things that, for example, were in like the original white paper that we wrote like 2 years ago are still like hold, but there might be some slight details like that have changed around them. But the sort of overall arching bit still stays the same.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's natural, as regardless as to how much planning and time you put into creating your white paper and your roadmap, ultimately in business, things change anyway over time, and you can begin with the end in mind, but you have to be willing to change and pivot as new technology arises, and maybe legislation comes in that you never expected, and as you learn and grow as a team as well, and you naturally become even more educated in the industry that your business is in. Things ultimately change over time. So I think these updates are great to be able to provide clarity on those kinds of on those kinds of changes, and to help everybody get on board and understand the direction. So I guess the first thing I want to say, just from me is, massive congrats on getting the exchange live. I think it took a lot, caught a lot of people off guard, and I think it's a very big moment for a project or any business in general when you go from being a speculative company that is saying, look, this is what we want to do, this is what we are going to do, to becoming a company that is like, well, this is what we have done, and this is now what that means. So I think there was a big shift that I definitely picked up on, because I think a lot of the time, speaking from an investor standpoint, we are just speculatively, I dare to say gambling, but hedging our bets on hoping that companies are going to, fulfill on their mission and what they're looking to do. So I think, yeah, huge congrats from moving from a speculative project to a project that is now walking the talk, and clearly has a very bright future. So congrats to all of you guys on that first and foremost.
Thanks for that. It's always nice to over deliver and have some unexpected good news rather than kind of people thinking that you're not doing what you said we're going to do. But just being able to deliver some real world utility as well, I think is always been the goal, and to have it within actually in the ad exchange. So we're actually delivering real ads via that. I think that's the kind of most exciting thing about it. It's been a longer road than even most people probably know. So it's good. It's good to be at least the sort of end of the beginning, I guess.
Yeah.
To use a quote.
100%.
Yeah, and also it's also good to get some feedback from the community as well, to see that people see value in what we are doing is a big boost, because sometimes we tend to see, okay, are we doing the right thing? Is the community going to accept what we are doing? And to have that validation is definitely a boost in the arm. So thank you very much for the whole community for all of that. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, Chandru. We appreciate you, buddy. The giga brain who's who's made all of this possible. It's always great to talk to you about this technology and what you guys have built together. I'm always very impressed, as I'm sure I can speak on behalf of most of the community when I say that as well. And look, at the end of the day, what you guys are doing or have done was building the first of its kind in something new. The world's first fully decentralized ad exchange, and that's always going to come with a lot of work and obstacles and issues, but you've done it. So congratulations. And again, I'm sure I can speak on behalf of all the listeners in the community that we're very excited to see what happens now, and follow along for the journey. That's one thing I've noticed in the community, that the general sort of energy is people are very happy to be invested in Alchemy. They're very happy to be a part of the community, and collectively excited along with you guys for what the rest of this year and beyond is going to bring.
Yeah, I think it's been a really iterative process. I mean, if anyone wants to cast their mind back, I think on the 24th of August, we had kind of the first demo of the token being used to facilitate demo transactions. And so then, what is that now? 18 months later, kind of have people actually using it to surface live transactions, I think has been a roller coaster ride for us. But kind of seeing it grow from sprint to sprint has been really awesome, to the point where we're now serving live ads. So it's been very cool to watch that happen, watch the team grow. I mean, at that point there was 3 of us, there's now 22 of us, and we're now in our second office. We've done 3 events around it's been pretty crazy. So this is, as Charlie said, this is just the middle of the beginning, really, because where we win is at scale, and I think that is the next the next step for us is scaling what we've got at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you've got yourself off to a very good start in terms of your value proposition and what you offer. At the end of the day, they always say in business that the best marketing is simply the best product. If you've got an amazing product that solves problems, helps people out, saves them money, then your marketing becomes very easy because it speaks for itself, doesn't it? At the end of the day.
I mean, I think even on Thursday last week, we were in a meeting with a business that represents 500 publishers in the kind of the gaming vertical. So yeah, gaming, not gambling, but gaming is in like esports and e-gaming. And one thing that's pretty amazing, like even if you look at the Ads Explorer right now, you can see. You look at one of the individual transactions, the bids, all of the bids that are coming in for that particular ad slot. That is not something that is easily accessible with existing solutions right now. And by showing all of the bids, one of those wins, and then in effect, what you have there is lost bids.
You still there? Sorry.
You still there?
Hello.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think we lost you temporarily.
A phone call came in there.
Oh, yeah.
Where did you lose me?
You were talking about individual bids.
Yes. So we're tracking and notarizing every bid that takes place within each auction. You, in effect, there have the bid that won and then also the bids that are lost. Because that information is then stored on a ledger, that is then queryable for free by any publisher using any publisher that is looking at the Ads Explorer. That is something that is not readily available. That is not information that publishers can grasp very easily, even though it often is their own ads that they won't have won or won't have had ads bidded on particular ad slots. So the fact that we are able to offer that is already a huge differentiator. And actually every meeting that we have, I get more and more confident about the product market fit that we have. And I think at this point, it's just hard work to spread the good word and have more publishers using us. But it's well underway.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine you getting very positive reactions around, that conversation, because as most of us understand, data is everything, and even if they win or lose an ad, they can utilize that data to streamline their strategy when it comes to their entire their entire philosophy, you could say, when it comes to their their marketing side of the company, which ultimately is the life and blood of every business. So it's a hugely pivotal piece of information that companies are going to be able to do a lot with. So I can see why that's so big for many businesses, definitely. Cool, guys. So obviously this AMA is mainly centered around community questions. Have had a fair few come in and, sort of, how would you say, try to put them into the most easy to understand ways for you guys. I guess probably the best question to start off with, talking about where you guys are at, is so the exchange is ready. It's live on Labs, and it's able to facilitate the transactions, everything we've just been talking about. So what do you now see as your biggest challenge coming up from here, now that the exchange is done?
I think probably for me it is twofold. So on the supply side of things, publishers, unfortunately, because they've been losing so much of the money they should have been getting, which is a great plug, often have very limited development teams. So actually getting the time from developers to integrate, and it's often not a difficult integration, it's just they have a lot of stuff going on at these publishers, is making sure that we fit ourselves into sprints, making it very easy to be integrated. And I think, again, that's why we chose to use pre-bid. It's a very widely understood and used solution for onboarding centralized exchanges. So the fact that we are a decentralized exchange and offering more revenue, lower fees, and increased transparency via pre-bid has made that conversation easier, but kind of just, time poor developers at publishers, I think, is the other one. And then legal teams as well go into that publisher side. Just we found a lot, like we've got to the stage where everyone agrees, and then it's a case of getting through people's like legal teams, and that just seems to take forever. I mean, even though our contract is not very long, there seems to be people with a vested interest in getting billable hours, I guess. So that has also like slowed the process down a little bit.
And to add to that, I'm thinking about this more from a technical perspective, and for me, I think the biggest challenge would be scaling this whole solution, because what we will have as we onboard more and more publishers is millions and millions of transactions hitting the exchange. So, which is where it becomes very important for us to be able to scale, to be able to onboard node operators, to be able to provide the kind of bandwidth that we will need in order to process these transactions, make sure that these transactions are validated, they are notarized on the ledger. So that's something that I think is an ongoing journey. We will need to deal with more publishers coming on board. We will need to deal with onboarding new node operators. We'll need to scale in every sense. And from a technical operational perspective, I think that's one of the challenges that I see going forward.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, Chandru. And I think for any business that has to scale in any sense, maybe even if you're just like a physical logistics company and you're taking on loads and loads of new vehicles and your logistics management system, you're not able to understand what you need to do until the data is flooding in. How do we manage that best? Maybe we have to be overrun once to see where the cracks are. So it's kind of something that it's a learn as you go kind of process, I imagine. And I'm assuming you have a general, a very good general idea of what that's going to look like. But, as any business grows over time, you get hit with more and more volume, and then you have to figure out the best way that you manage that, and what happens maybe when we get overloaded at a certain point. Is there anything we need to iterate? And that's where improvements also come in. So, hopefully that will be a relatively smooth process for you over time.
Absolutely. And that's very true. But in fact, it's a very good problem to have, because it's a good problem where we have more data coming in, more bid requests coming in, a lot of people who are interested in showing their ads on these bid requests to use the exchange to make the most for their money. It's a very good problem to have. So it's when I say challenging, yes, there will be learning experiences as we go along, but it will be a very enhancing experience where we learn along the way. We make sure that we add value to everybody, and take the community and our node operators, token holders along with us. So it's a journey that we are looking forward to. Is all I can say.
Yeah, awesome. And just quickly touching on something you said, I think it was you, Ben, about having the developers or something to be able to do the work and sort of do the integration, and you're having to kind of knock down their doors, and they don't really have time. I think again that's something that's probably, hopefully, as time goes on, that will reverse, and you'll be like, we need more people to be able to deal with all of the developers that are coming to us to try to integrate with what we're doing over time. And you generally find, if you look at history and any big change in technology, that it's always slow, and then it's slow, and then it's hard, and then everything happens all at once. All of a sudden, the market truly understands the value proposition. People are jumping on board. The other publishers are getting FOMO, and all of a sudden everybody's realizing how valuable this is, and then it could likely be you guys that become overwhelmed and have to then scale your operations even more to be able to facilitate all of that onboarding. That would be the dream scenario, I imagine.
Yeah, very nice problem to have that.
Yeah. In fact, when we talk about the value proposition, we always talk about this in our meetings, and the way we see this is in 3 stages. And I know Slam is sitting somewhere smiling because we always talk about staged approaches. So I can see him sitting somewhere outside the room and smiling to himself. But when we talk about these 3 stages, stage number 1 is what can we do? What does the product offer to meet the market to ensure that all of the features that publishers and advertisers are used to seeing, all of those features, all of the same security, the same kind of privacy, the same kind of compliance to regulation, all of the things that people are used to, our partners are used to, should be provided. That is stage 1. Stage 2 is what has been mentioned in the white paper about, bringing down fees, ensuring that people have access to transparent, auditable data sets, ensuring that people have a greener alternative to existing solutions, all the things that we've spoken about and continue to speak about. All of those promises are met. That would be stage 2. And stage 3 is where we deliver what people are not expecting to see. This is where this is the wow factor that we talk about, where there is so much of data that we have access to that can be leveraged. We can provide reports to publishers and advertisers. We can give them bidding strategies. We can advise them as to how they can modify the floor bid prices based on where the bid request is originating from, what kind of user is likely to be seeing the ad, what kind of content is being hosted on those pages. There's a lot of data that can be put together in order to overlay that with how the advertisers value that. Do the advertisers value a certain type of bid request, a certain type of content, a certain type of user over others? All of that is data that we have access to. We can build custom reports. We can build business intelligence, which can actually change the way in which publishers and advertisers actually work with each other. And that is the wow factor, which is stage 3 for us.
Yeah, for sure. And sorry, did someone go to say something then? Or No, cool. Yeah, and I'm sure, like, just going back to what you were saying earlier, Ben, about the people realizing that they have that transparency and that access to all of that data. I'm imagining is one of those stage 3 parts of your journey. Helping them understand just how much audibility they will have over their own data, regardless as to whether they win a bid or not.
Yeah, exactly right.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for that. So, cool. Move on to one of the next questions. I think there was some people in the community wanted a bit of clarification around sort of the difference between what it's going to be to sort of be a node operator for the Alchemy State channel and simply just being able to stake your ads tokens. And then to add to that, obviously, for, some people will be familiar with this part, but others that aren't, in the white paper, holders of ads are going to be able to essentially lease their ads to publishers or advertisers for them to be able to put down as bandwidth. So if you could just give us some clarification on the difference between being a node operator for the state channel, simply staking ads, and then leasing ads to publishers or advertisers, and if there is any difference between those 2 parts.
I was going to say, so I think this is like one of those areas that will change slightly. So like the leasing part from from the original white paper will be slightly different in terms of companies won't be leasing ads directly from a pool that was staked. It will work in a slightly different way now, where essentially we will be. I mean, given the recent regulations around staking, it might be done in a slightly different way. So again, like that's another area where regulation that literally happened a few days ago does kind of affect actual product decisions. But yeah, essentially, people will be able to collateralize an ads node for ads rewards, and that will validate transactions in our stake channel. And the exact kind of mechanisms that we will go through to select those nodes we'll be releasing kind of in the next month or so. So everyone should keep their eye out for that. But yeah, these are the areas that we'll have to kind of release a bit more new information about because there's some slight tweaks essentially from the original white paper.
Yes, and like you said, regulation is going to be an ever-changing, probably fairly frustrating and exhausting landscape. Just if the beginning of this year is anything to go off so far with what how the SEC has been behaving over in the US, I think there's going to be some changes coming in. So I guess sort of to add on that note, in terms of the staking of ads at the moment, have you guys had any thoughts over the last couple of days as to how that will maybe bring some implications, or is staking just planned to carry on as normal? Maybe just a bit of clarification around the current staking mechanisms that you offer, just so the community understand.
Yeah, so I guess the way to look at it is, once we've got collateralized nodes, they will essentially be validating the transactions on the network. That means that over time, the staking as it exists now will change, and it might be a case of turning it into something for a different purpose. But the idea that those stake tokens will be gaining rewards for validating transactions, that will be the part that changes as more and more people get the opportunity essentially to run a node and actually support actual transactions within the stake channel rather than just via the testnet. So yeah, there is going to be a subtle change kind of moving forwards, but it won't be a wholesale cliff edge moment where suddenly we won't have staking. It will be a case of phasing it out over time as we kind of onboard more nodes.
Okay, awesome. That's helpful to know. I'm sure that's I think
we want to encourage people to validate transactions, because the more validators we have, the more decentralized the network becomes, and we don't want that to be prohibitive. So yeah, there will be some more advancements on the actual ins and outs of that. But yeah, as you know, the goalpost moved 4 days ago. So yeah, we are dealing with what is a live situation. So yeah, we're trying to create the best solutions that allows everyone that wants to be involved in some capacity. So yeah, nothing's going to change immediately, but yeah, we wanted to make sure that we can get as many validators validating transactions as possible, because yeah, as I said, that helps the decentralization of the network, and then also the stability of the network, as Chandru said, particularly because a lot of the businesses that we deal with have transactions that need validating across the globe. I mean, if it's a English language publication, that might be being read on the West Coast, then the East Coast, in the UK, Europe, even to Australia, where the transactions originate from can really be anywhere in the globe. So having a expansive network of validators will be key to supporting as many of those transactions as possible and get people that are running the nodes validating transactions from across the globe. So yeah, it's a big beast we're tackling, but I feel very confident that we've got a very scalable solution there.
Yeah. Kind of on that. On that kind of SEC piece, obviously, what they're what they have a problem with is people essentially lending tokens in unregulated platforms. What we currently have is soft staking. That doesn't involve us taking custody of those tokens to then reward people. Therefore, it's not the same as what has just happened. So from that point of view, everything we think can kind of continue as is. And then the idea is to actually push people into being validators of real live transactions, which again takes it even further away from the SEC purview, because if you are essentially providing utility to the network, that is completely different to just staking in order to receive rewards.
That's true. And add to that, we're also looking at various ways of bringing in fractionalized nodes as well. So anybody who is a small bag holder would probably not miss out. So we want to make sure that we cover everybody, and anybody who would have soft staked a small bag would not miss out on once the node program starts. That's something that we are considering as well.
That's awesome. I think that's a very good idea. Because I think that it's very interesting, and I'm sure you guys have noticed this as well. Is whenever you build, in crypto, when you're building a crypto project, you now have a community, which is different, isn't it, compared to traditional business? Like before, if you started a shop on the street, you wouldn't really be thinking about your community. Maybe like in the sense of how you can look after the local people in a way, I guess. But this is a whole new arm of business management in the crypto space when it comes to the community management and the community sentiment and having to deal with FUD from the community, and stuff like that. It's a completely new landscape that businesses are having to navigate. And I think, putting effort and time into that is absolutely integral to a cryptocurrency's project success. And I think offering fractionalized nodes for smaller holders, like you say, Chandru, is a brilliant way to go, because not everybody has the capital to be able to have, for example, how it was for DAG, 250,000 DAG. Very, very rare amounts of people are actually able to have that amount, but yet you've got some people in the community that are really avid members and follow everything that you do with a very sharp eye, and would feel very proud and honored to be able to contribute in their way to the success of a project that they're very interested in. So I think that's a really good move.
It's like the ultimate version of having the Before They Were Famous album of your favorite bands.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've always said that, like, what we're looking to do here is re-establish the value exchange online. That's more revenue for publishers, the ability for advertising to keep funding the web online, and a better user experience for users themselves. And virtually everyone uses the internet. It's a human right. So I think if we were to take an approach where it was prohibitive to be validating transactions, it would be kind of going against the ethos of Alchemy in general. So we want to make sure we can have as many people validating transactions as possible with a fair and equitable means of getting people on board into the main net.
Yeah, and it's we owe the community a lot. Everybody who's purchased even a single ads token, we want to make it up to them. We want to say thank you very much, and that's where we want to make sure that every token holder becomes, in some way, a part of the whole ecosystem. They have an opportunity to validate transactions. They have an opportunity to ensure that they are adding value to the whole advertising ecosystem. So that's what this whole node management program is all about, really.
And just sort of add to that as well, there is an element to which it isn't just the number of transactions that are happening through the exchange that will be validated through our nodes. Like, there will be other things that those nodes do within the network, because there is bandwidth that is needed for other functions like pulling reports and things like that. So there is a need for a lot of bandwidth in a lot of different places and a lot of different ways. So in case people were worried that there would be a very rigid amount that we would only ever need at any one time, we have quite a lot of functions that we can run through nodes, and we'll be doing so in the future.
Okay, brilliant, awesome. Thanks for all of that information, guys. Okay, cool. So let's crack on to the next question we've got here. This one we got. Let's have a look. Cool. So obviously, you guys right now you're currently in your private testnet infrastructure. You're going to be extending the private testnet to community members at some point throughout Q1 as per your roadmap. So I guess a question that come up a few times was, how is the Alchemy state channel functioning at the moment in terms of, obviously you've got your private testnet, you have people on board at the moment that, that validating transactions, but how is that being notarized? What sort of consensus mechanism is being underwritten? How is the ad exchange currently decentralized in terms of validating transactions if the state channel isn't 100% live? Just a bit of clarification around how the exchange is now live on labs and facilitating transactions. What's the process right now with them being validated, and where does the Ad Explorer fit into that?
Sure. I think that's a very good question. So currently, just want to clarify that Alchemy Exchange has its own state channel. So a state channel that is used to validate the ads transaction. So Alchemy Exchange has certain processing parts that are run off the chain, and there are certain functionalities that are run as part of our state channel. And this is where the validation of ads transactions comes into picture. The validation of ads transaction that are resulting from these bid request responses showing ads to users, all of the ads transactions, the ad auction validation, all of that happens on the chain. On the chain as part of our state channel. Mm-hmm. And this state channel is validating all of these ads transactions using the custom consensus mechanism. And that is provided by Tessellation. Okay, and these validated ads transactions are notarized on a ledger. And currently, this ledger, the whole state channel, is running on a few nodes that are part of our private testnet, and which is what we are trying to extend to show that this is a scalable solution, to show that this goes far beyond just showing ads on labs. So it's that scalability. The functionality is one part, and the scalability is the second part. We've demonstrated that the ad exchange, the state channel, works and functions as it should. What we are concentrating on is to show that this is scalable to handle millions of transactions. That is where we are able to onboard several publishers. We are able to show the functionality, the scalability to advertisers who want to bid on these bid requests. So that's the part that we are currently working on. And this is where node management comes into picture, where we will need to show that scalability to start with in a constrained environment where the publishers and advertisers see that, oh yeah, this is what scalability means. It does not compromise security. It does not compromise compliance to regulations. It does not compromise user privacy and so on. So that's the scalability part that we are currently working towards, and that's where node management fits into the whole picture. Now, once these ad transactions that are validated using our custom consensus mechanism that's built for Alchemy State Channel, those validated ad transactions are then notarized on the ledger, and the data and the validated transactions that are on the ledger, they are surfaced and captured on the Ads Explorer, right? So that's the whole flow. The exchange conducting ad auctions, validating the ad transactions, ensuring that once these ad transactions are validated, they are captured on the ledger, and then that surface which is captured on the Ads Explorer for the world to see. The next stage to that would be where the data that is captured on the Ads Explorer combined with the data that has been captured off the chain is used to build reporting dashboards for the publishers and the advertisers. We can also build custom reports that can add value, that can provide business intelligence to publishers and advertisers as well.
Okay. So, brilliant. Great explanation, Chandru. Thank you very much. That was very clear and answered a few uncertainties that I had around that process as well.
There's probably also a point about the snapshot and how that is actually being captured on the Ads Explorer. So basically what happens is tessellation creates snapshots on a periodic basis. And these periodic snapshots may or may not contain ads data. But what we also do is to create snapshots whenever there are ads transactions, because sometimes we will need to create more snapshots more frequently than the period that's been chosen by tessellation that's currently configured on the private testnet that we use. So there are more snapshots being created than the periodic creation of snapshots. And there may be some scenarios where the users don't go to Alchemy Labs, or there is no ads there are no ads that are displayed to the users within a certain period of time. It could well happen, which is where we actually capture only those snapshots with ads data, ads transactions data on the Ads Explorer. So any snapshot that does not contain ads transaction data is not shown on the Ads Explorer. Which is why if you were to browse through the Ads Explorer, you may find that certain snapshots are missing. And these snapshots are the ones that don't have the ads transactions. And I must confess, this whole process is being refined as we speak. As we scale, as we test, as we continue to get feedback from our partners, we are trying to make tweaks to this, and any changes that you see that we make are actually visible on the Ads Explorer as part of the Ads on Labs project as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Chandru. Yeah, like I say, very informative explanation there around a few questions that had I had seen floating, and one that I had myself as well. So that's very beneficial. It's going to be exciting, you guys, moving forward to inviting community members to come and get involved on your testnet as well. So I'm sure there's be quite a few people that are eager to hear more about that coming up very soon. Now, the next question is a fairly common question. I think it's on the lips of many community members and people that are taking a big interest in what you guys are doing. Obviously, you have the Paris Blockchain Week coming up shortly, and on your roadmap, you have listed a major development milestone for Alex to facilitate client onboarding. In brackets, stay tuned. So I guess the question is around that client onboarding, the publishers, advertisers onboarding, the who, the when, the how of that, and obviously I appreciate that you're always going to be limited around what you can actually 100% say when it comes to these kind of announcements and making it public about who you're working with. But in as much information as you are able to give us around that, now the exchange is live and it's out there in the ether. How is the onboarding of the publishers, demand side and supply side going? Are we able to have any information around, that process, and if we can expect to hear some information regarding publishers at some point, and what you guys are expecting on that side coming up to the Paris Blockchain Week?
So I think the the supply side of things is progressing very nicely. We definitely will have some updates for the Paris Blockchain Week, if not before.
Okay, awesome, huge.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got a target for kind of the amount of bid requests, so the amount of potential ad units that we've got to be selling for this quarter. It's kind of what we want to be validating on the network. That's in the kind of hundreds of millions. So
Wow.
Yeah, there will be. I mean, we spoke to one company again a couple of weeks ago now. They have 20 billion ad requests just in the UK every month. They actually have more scale than Facebook do. So the number of transactions does ramp up quite significantly. And what that really means is that we have a more varied pool of cookies that are available to buyers. So not every ad impression, even on the same website, is equal. It depends on which websites you may have visited previously, how likely you are to click on an ad, if you're logged into whatever it is, that particular website can mean that one ad impression might cost 50 cents for 1,000 and one might be $5. So by having a broad pool of cookies, it allows us to facilitate more of the requirements that come from our buyers. I mean, there's always an in-joke that whenever you get a brief or a proposal that it's like left-handed doctors in London that live within a mile radius of Waterloo. It's like, well, there's probably 5 of those people, and I think they probably all go on one website once, so you don't have much joy in scaling that campaign. Really allowing us, as soon as the kind of supply is onboarded, the buyers can then find their preferred cookie more often, bid on that, and then again, because of the lower fees that we are charging, are more likely then to win those impressions, and that is like almost at that point a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the target has been for bid requests, and then with bid requests come buyers. And so, that is all well underway. It's progressing very nicely.
Your target's going well so far?
Yeah, can't complain.
Brilliant. I bet when you were talking about 20 billion transaction, Chandru may have started sweating slightly.
We've been talking about it. He knows what's coming. That's why we need node operators, right? There's a significant opportunity to validate transactions here. So
100%. 100%. And like, just to add to that, I think I, for one, have seen lots of positive sentiment within the community on Twitter around wanting to get involved as a node operator with Alchemy. So I personally believe you're going to be having your hand bitten off when you next, when you guys reach that next milestone, which hopefully will be fairly soon. I think there's a lot of people very eager for that.
We are working at breakneck speed, I think, but with that, we don't want to be hasty, I think, because again, publishers expect a certain service, advertisers expect a certain service. I think we've got to be able to offer that and guarantee that through stability of the network. So whilst I'm sure everyone on this call, we wish it came out yesterday, we are in the same boat. We wish it came out the day before yesterday, but we won't be kind of rushing it because we're very deliberate in everything that we do. We want to make sure what we deliver is scalable. So stay tuned. We'll keep, as we do our best to kind of be as transparent as we physically can be. So you are always kind of abreast of development roadmaps, just everything that we're doing.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that. Like, I think I speak for most of the community when I say that you guys you've been incredibly reliable in terms of coming to, delivering on what you say you're going to do. And, for some people that might not understand, you guys, you're not only having to manage, ensuring that the publishers and everybody involved is having the experience that they need. I mean, obviously this is a new type of technology, a decentralized exchange. you guys are offering amazing benefits, but people may still be wary when they're coming and getting involved and what to expect. And, ultimately you guys want to win people over and provide the service that you're so loudly speaking about doing. But then you also have to manage the supply and demand side and build that at the same time. Like I remember when Uber first came out, and I was reading quite a lot into that, and they were saying one of the biggest challenges was scaling that supply and demand at the same time, because if you've got loads of taxis but no people using the app, then the taxi drivers aren't going to want to keep using it. Whereas if you've got loads of people wanting rides and no drivers, then that's also a problem. So it's like having to constantly balance that growth around the same time as providing a really good, secure service with a brand new technology. So yeah, it's no easy task.
True. It's very true. In fact, that's one of the key reasons why we will have to look at onboarding node operators in a staged manner, because we cannot say, okay, we open the gates and then we will have 5,000 operators. It's not a practical approach. We will only probably need a certain number of node operators when we start working with a publisher. When for the next quarter there are more publishers that we onboard, then we will need more processing power, more node operators to be onboarded. So I see this as more of a phased approach, even onboarding of node operators, rather than one big bang.
Yeah, and as you've said a few times, Chandru, over the course of the conversation, as you grow and things get bigger, things will change, and it's managing the growth of everything at the same time and keeping the incredible service and experience that you guys have set out to create since day one. I have every faith you guys are going to smash it. Like I said before, it's been even taking myself out of the situation of being on the call with you today, just as an investor and somebody that's been interested in what you guys have been doing for a while. It's been it's been a good experience on that side. So, and with the roadmap that you've got coming up, I'm sure that that everybody listening here, and even people that aren't on the call, are very excited to be a part of this journey with you guys.
Thank you.
All right, cool. So yeah, these conversations always seem to fly, almost at an hour already. Cool. So I think we just got maybe it's one more question. I think we can kind of group it together. You guys have provided a lot of clarity already on this call, and yeah, very interesting to hear about Paris Blockchain Week and the publishers. So okay, question: would Alchemy be able to show ads using zero knowledge proofs? Is that something you guys have ever had a discussion around? I know the zero knowledge, I posted a couple of times over the last few days about the zero knowledge proof, the ZK roll-up sort of narrative taking hold in the crypto space. So is that something you guys will ever be applicable to Alchemy?
Yes, we've discussed this quite a lot of times as well,
Yeah.
where we are looking at providing a privacy-compliant ads rendering process, where we could use Web3 concepts, Web3 wallets, in order to determine the kind of data related to a user, the kind of ads that would need to be, that are valuable to be shown to that user. And we could also look at what kind of data needs to be surfaced to what users based on user consents. Again, using Web3 concepts, NFTs, we can ensure that any user who would connect their Web3 wallets onto a site, and the site would only be able to see the kind of data that the user wants to surface to that particular website, and that could then be included as part of the ad rendering process. So definitely this is something that we have been discussing. There's a lot of work that is being that we are doing. It's certainly an item on our roadmap, something that we are working towards, and definitely something that that we would love to share more about in the coming few days.
Okay, brilliant, good stuff. Well, that's pretty much collated most of the general questions that the community had. I think, obviously you guys have been providing a lot of information over the last couple of weeks, and it seems that the community has a generally good understanding of the direction. The roadmap was very clear. You're already delivering on that as well, and yeah, I think the destination and the way that you guys are going about it has been communicated quite clearly. I think the main general idea of the community is generally understanding when publishers, when growth, and that's because everybody's is invested, and that you generally have that kind of sentiment around a crypto community. But it's like how would you say things are progressing in general with the roadmap? Because you put out a fairly detailed roadmap. Would you say that things are nice and on target overall as a whole?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
it's I mean, aside from any kind of future regulatory spanners,
yeah.
I think in the realms of what we can control, I'm pretty confident that we are well on track and delivering what we need to be delivering when we need to deliver it.
Yeah, I think any of those regulatory roadmap problems that might occur are only kind of peripheral things. They're not necessarily core functions of the exchange and validating transactions and having publishers and advertisers selling and buying across the network. So they're kind of annoying because you have to go away and think about it again and then probably put out some different information. But other than that, they're not so bad.
On a philosophical tangent there, I don't think any crypto project, and I probably should not be saying this, but I don't think any crypto project would say, okay, we will be doing this at this point in time. It's very difficult to hold people to that, given the kind of volatility in the market, the regulations, and everything else. But one thing that we definitely will promise is that every effort will be done. Everything that we can do is being done in order to hit those milestones, and that is something that we will guarantee. That the effort will always be there. If there are some changes in the regulations or market conditions that kind of affect things which are beyond our control, there are unknowns. We'll deal with it. There are challenges that every project will face. We will deal with any challenges. We'll take them head on. We will do the best that we can do in order to add value to our partners, to the ecosystem, to the community, the token holders, node operators. Everything that we can do, we will most certainly do, and that is something that we will actively work towards.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, it's great to hear you, sort of articulate that in that way, Chandru, because it is, in a philosophical sense, like you say, you can only ever control your own thoughts and actions about whatever you do, and taking a stoic view on it at the end of the day is, if whatever obstacle impedes the way then becomes the new way. If there's changes in regulation, then we make changes. If something happens within the technology or with a large publisher, and then that becomes the way also. And when you take the right approach to any obstacle, not just in business but in life, it always ends up becoming something that bootstrapped your growth or propelled you in a direction that maybe you weren't sort of prepared for initially, but ended up becoming a blessing and actually a massive asset to the entire growth of the project because of that outlook that you have on those obstacles, those SEC regulations, the things that can potentially come and cause harm if not dealt with in the right way, can actually end up becoming a project's biggest strength.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome, guys. It's been a great conversation. Always really good to chat to you and hear what you guys are up to. I guess that's all of the questions. So last thing really is if there's anything that you would like to add personally at this stage to share with the community, anything I haven't touched on, just to close off the conversation.
No, I just think a thank you for having us on again, and thank you for everyone that's taken the time to listen. I know these aren't always at the best times for everyone across the globe, but yeah, we appreciate all of you that come and listen live, and then those that listen after the fact. So yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you very much for everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
No worries, guys. Listen, keep up the amazing work. I'm sure I speak for everybody when I say I'm extremely excited to see what you guys have up your sleeve and in upcoming announcements. Good luck at the Paris Blockchain Week, and I've no doubt we'll be talking again very soon. Like I say, it's always a pleasure speaking with you guys, and yeah, very grateful to be a part of this journey with you. So thanks so much, and yeah, keep smashing it, and we will we'll talk again very soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
No worries. Thanks to all the community, guys. Appreciate you jumping on for these spaces all the time. And yeah, you hear from me on Twitter very soon. All the best, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.